Of chickpeas that I've put into some boiling water, and this has been boiling for about 15 minutes, and I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of baking soda. Now when the baking soda goes in the hot water, it's going to start to really fizz up, so you're going to want to stir it constantly right away until you can start to see the water again. You're going to still have bubbles, but at least till you see the water, and just let it go for another 15 to 20 minutes on a boil. We're also going to need some split peas, which I've brought up to a boil with 2 garlic cloves in there. Now I'm using green split peas because I can't seem to find yellow split peas in my supermarket, but that will be perfectly fine. So we're going to be needing a little bit of dal for this as well. So just let this boil for about 30 minutes, and then we're going to continue on. So pot here, I'm going to add in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. All I want is for the bottom of my pot to be coated in that vegetable oil. I want the entire bottom of my pot to have oil in it. It takes about 2 to 3 tablespoons. And then we're going to let that, you can see the dal is breaking down here real nice. So I didn't soak my dal or anything. I just brought it up to a boil because it's only about a half a cup of dal. So when my oil is nice and hot, I'm going to add in about 1/4 of an onion. It's a very little bit of onion, and about 3 garlic cloves. I'm just going to add that to my hot oil. And I'm just going to take my spoon and just kind of stir it around so it all sits at the bottom of that pot in that oil. Just like so, and let that go for about 2 minutes so all those flavors from the garlic and the onion are released into the oil. And just let that go for about, my heat is on medium heat, so just let that go for about 2 minutes. So after about 2 minutes, I'm going to start adding in my curry powder. I'm using about 1 tablespoon of curry powder and about 3/4 tablespoon of jeera powder, roasted jeera powder. I'm going to stir this around in my oil and my onion and garlic and let that go for about 4 to 5 minutes on medium heat. Just stir it every 2 minutes or so, but what's going to happen is the curry and the jeera is going to release its natural flavors. There's a sweetness to that natural flavors in there, and it's going to release it. So just let that go for about 4 to 5 minutes, let it cook and release its natural flavors. And I'm not going to add any water. This is the difference between my last recipe and this recipe. It's just a few minor changes, but the taste is phenomenal. So I've drained my chickpeas, and now I'm adding it to my curry and jeera and onion and garlic. And we're just going to mix that real well. You can see how deep and dark that color is. It's amazing. I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper and just mix that around real well. And then we're just going to add in some water. It could take about a cup and a half. It's just to cover it. You don't want to add too much water because remember the chickpeas is already really, it's cooked, it's nice and tender. So all we're going to do is just add a little bit of water just to cover it, and we're going to mix that real well so all those flavors go through, and then we're going to just let this come up to a boil. And back to our dal. My dal should be finished in about 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to get my potato masher and mash it so it becomes really nice and fine, mash all the garlic and everything, and just take the oil for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and once our dal is thickened up, after we've let it thicken up, boil for another few minutes, we're going to add in our dal. Now all I use is about a half a cup of dal or so. And then we're just going to mix this all around. Now I'm going to take my same potato masher and I'm just going to gently mash it. I still want chunks of chana in there. I don't want, or chickpeas, I don't want this to be completely mush. So I do want to have some chunks in there. And then I'm going to add in some chopped up cilantro, or you can use culantro, shadow beni, bandanya, whatever you call it. Just add that in, mix it up. Now let this come up to a boil for another 5 minutes until it thickens up. Now you're going to want to stir it every so often because it is really thick. Even though there's water in there, it is really thick. Let it go for about 5 minutes, and then that is it. You're going to turn off the heat because as it cools, it is going to thicken up even more. And that's it, guys. This is perfection. This is the best chana that I've ever had in my doubles, and I really recommend that you guys give it a try because it's perfection.